The Tampa Bay Rays made their direction clear as a franchise in 2024 after trading multiple stars at the deadline despite having a winning record at the time. While it already led to the Rays building the top prospect system in baseball, there is still room for the teardown to continue and to get even more top prospects back for the few big names left on the roster. This marks the halfway point of my Rebuilding October series, which is where I rebuild a new team every day across the month of October. So, whether you're looking for your favorite team or are generally curious about how every team will approach the offseason, this is the series for you. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. Before we can get into the players the team should add or could look to trade away, we have to look at impending free agents that could be released at the free agent pool. Luckily for the Rays, there's only one player set to hit the market, and it's Brandon Lau, who is faced with a $10.5 million team option. For the Rays, this should be a pretty easy decision to keep Lau on the team. In his 7-year tenure with the Rays, Lau posted an 812 OPS with a 125 OPS plus, with a 162 game average of 33 homers and 96 RBIs. For a measly $10.5 million, that sort of production is unheard of, especially for the second base spot. That extra year would allow the team to move on from the power hitting second baseman and acquire even more prospects for this stacked system. Speaking of that system, there are three main prospects who could make their impact on the major league roster, albeit it'll be later in the year for all of them. Starting with Carson Williams, the highest rated prospect in the Rays system and fourth highest in all of baseball. Williams has some of the most exceptional tools in all of baseball, featuring a big time power bat, a strong arm, and solid defense to go along with it. The biggest question mark regarding Williams' game remains his problems with the strikeouts, which have eclipsed the 31% mark multiple times throughout his minor league career. But if he can iron out some of those swing and misses, the rest of his game is poised to be an all-star shortstop for the Rays in the near future. Another name to keep an eye on in the Rays system is Xavier Isaac, who comes in as the second best in the Rays pool and 36th best in baseball. Isaac is a pretty stereotypical first base prospect that does a lot of damage with his bat, which has showed up better than thought at the draft. Combined with that, Isaac has shown the ability to walk when it's given to him, which really rounds out his game and raises his floor as a player. He is a first baseman, so his impact on the game will be naturally lesser, but still a fun player to watch come the end of the season in 2025. And the final player that could crack the major league roster has to be possibly the most intriguing player in all of the minor league systems, and that is Chandler Simpson, who has stolen 198 bags over the past 2 years as a minor leaguer. He does so with his 80 grade speed, which he uses both on the base paths and in the outfield to provide great range, which should only get better the more comfortable he gets at the position. On the flip side, Simpson offers almost zero hope to be a power threat down the line, only posting one homer as a minor leaguer. It is often said that if the grading scale was from 10 to 90, he would still have the lowest power grade and the highest speed grade available. He is often compared to Billy Hamilton, but his ability to put the bat on the ball is much better than Hamilton's ever was, and in this new golden age of stolen bases, he could make a major impact on the game of baseball. However, all these players are coming down the pipeline. What excites fans is the players on the current MLB team, and it's time to break their heart with the trading of two of the remaining stars. If you've been following the series closely, you would have heard about both of these players, but from the opposite perspective. So, in the case you didn't watch those respective videos, the Rays will be trading Yandy Diaz to the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for Bailey Falter, former number one overall pick Henry Davis, and Braxton Ashcraft. Obviously, losing Diaz would be a big blow for the team, but moving on from him and continuing to build this system feels like the right move to make considering the team's position. For the Rays, they'll be receiving Bailey Falter, who is a serviceable starter who has his own quirks as a player. Henry Davis, who has struggled mightily in his time in the majors. However, the Rays love their former top prospects and don't shy away from coaching opportunities, and this guy was once one of the more exciting catching prospects in all of baseball, and if any team can fix him, it's the Rays. And the final and possibly most exciting player in the return will be Braxton Ashcraft, who ranks as the 85th best prospect in baseball. Ashcraft continues to put up great numbers as he ascends up the minor leagues. Last season, across 16 starts, Ashcraft posted a 2.84 ERA across double and triple A. He finds his success behind an excellent fastball and slider combination, with excellent control and a decent changeup and curveball that still needs some development. He still hasn't received a full season workload, so that is something to monitor as he nears his major league debut, but is still a very exciting pitcher to keep an eye on. After that, the team will be doing a 1-for-1 exchange of Pete Fairbanks for James Triantos from the Cubs. Again, Fairbanks will be a key cog to miss on the immediate roster, but for the Rays, relievers are fairly replaceable. whereas Triantos would be a good haul back for what is lost. Triantos is the 55th highest rated prospect behind a really solid tool with decent pop and a good arm. Triantos hit 300 last season with an improved strikeout to walk rate. He is a higher floor, lower ceiling sort of prospect, but one that will continue to add to the system and a player that is expendable from the Cubs' perspective. For free agents, we will keep it light because that's what the Rays do, with the only signing being a Paul DeYoung. Young had an okay season split between the White Sox and Royals, posting at 703 OPS across the season with 24 homers and 56 RBIs. He will just fill the void probably until the deadline or till Williams can crack the majors, but he is a solid replaceable guy that fills the void and can get moved at the deadline. And that brings the final roster to Henry Davis behind the dish, with Jonathan Aranda at first base, who has a baseball savant page you just need to see to believe. Brandon Lau will occupy second and probably be moved at the deadline. Paul DeYoung at short and Junior Caminero manning third base. James Triento would crack the opening day roster in left, with Jose Siri in center and Josh Lau in right, with Christopher Morel at DH, who we can thankfully get off the field. Ben Rortbeck can be a backup catcher, with Jose Caballero as a backup infielder. Johnny DeLuca would be a sick fourth outfielder, and Richie Palacios would round out the roster. Shane McClanahan would headline the rotation with Taj Bradley and Shane Baz filling out the middle, with Ryan Papoy and Bailey Falter filling out the rest of the starters. Would this team be exciting for 2025? No, not at the beginning. This is a team that committed to a full-scale rebuild, and it'll only make sense to complete the teardown this offseason. It is the first team that has been openly picked to pieces in this series, but all things considered, if these trades were pulled off, it would brighten their future as an organization, which already has so many key names to watch in the future. But for now, they'll be the Rays, saving pennies wherever possible.